Whenever you're ready.
Okay, how many people have been to prison? Not many. Well, I have for 2 years. Okay, who am I kidding? I've never been to prison or jail, and needless to say, I've never been arrested, and nor I've been tried for the murder, and basically got away with it like AC. Being a criminal justice major here at Florida State, our criminal justice system has always been an interest of mine, and I've always wanted to know everything about it. When people think of our justice system, they think of jail, prisons, laws, rules, punishment, sanctions, crimes, and everything in between. But what many people do not know is that our prisons are overcrowded to the point where these inmates, these prisoners, are basically being treated inhumanely. In fact, one sheriff in Alabama prides himself for the fact that he can feed his inmates on $1.75 a day. And to clarify that, that's not $1.75 per meal, that's 3 meals for $1.75. And the crazy thing is that if he can feed his inmates on less than $1.75 a day, then he actually gets to take home the excess amount. So if you calculate with all the inmates and all, over the course of a year, that's a hefty chunk of change that he gets to take home. Famous news corporations such as the Huffington Post and MSNBC have written many articles on prison overcrowding. Also, there are many academic journal articles written by profound criminologists who have done extensive research on prison overcrowding. Prison overcrowding is a plague that has been a problem for the United States since the beginning of time, so something has to change. As a person who has been to prison for 2 years, I've done my time. No, I'm still joking, and I promise that I've never been to prison, but I'd like to inform you, my audience, that something has to be done for these inmates. I mean, if you think about it, these inmates are living in conditions of people in third world countries. Yes, they're getting adequate food and nutrition, and they do have access to doctors and medical treatment, but the physical and mental stress that these inmates have to endure in these overcrowded conditions is in violation of their 8th Amendment right. So let us first discuss the dangers of these overcrowded prisons and the conditions that these inmates live in. Prisons in the United States are going down a path of destruction, and they will continue to go down this path if something is not done. Now, I know many of you are probably thinking that these inmates are in prison for a reason and that they should be punished, but I believe that these inmates are human beings, just like you and I are, and should be treated in a way that is not inhumane. According to Stephen Levitt, who is an author of the article, The Effect of Prison Population Size on Crime Rates, he states that the rate of imprisonment in the United States is 3 to 4 times greater than that of most European countries. Also, Walter Pavlo, who is a writer for Forbes magazine, states that over a 100-year period from 1880 to 1980, the inmate population of the United States increased about 400,000 on an annual basis. So if that happened back in 1880 to 1980, think about what our prison population is today. So from 1980 to 2008, that's 28 years, the prison population has grown to 2,400,000. It's excessive. So as mentioned earlier, many of you might be thinking that these people are in prison for a reason, and they did not get to prison by walking an old lady across the street. These people are criminals who have been convicted of crime and deserve to be there, and I agree with you. But when you have 3 inmates sleeping in bunk beds that are stacked 3 high, something is not right. So what about a solution? With this problem of prison overcrowding, Governor Jerry Brown of California proposed a nearly $1 billion be taken away from sales tax and vehicle fees to cover state and local costs of inmates in prisons. With this plan of cutting taxes and using the money towards prisons, inmates would be living in better conditions and would not have to worry about crowded living spaces. The only problem with this tactic is that the state has to approve the money being cut from one place and being sent to the other. Adam Ventrum, who is the author of one of my academic articles, states that California's prisons are at 180% capacity. Granted, this type of solution has never been done before, but in order for society to change and evolve, sometimes society has to make some changes and try some new tactics that we might not always agree with. Even though many states do not care about the conditions of the prisoners, people need to wake up and realize that what we are doing to these inmates are inhumane and unethical. The solution to prison overcrowding is going to be a hard and rough road to go down, but in the end, these inmates might have a chance at living a normal life when released. As I mentioned above, and as Governor Jerry Brown has proposed, this would be a great start in trying to solve this issue. So think of it this way. What if your mother or father or one of your siblings was living in a cramped cell, a prison cell, and they were not getting the adequate help or medical treatment that they needed so that when they were released that they couldn't function properly in society? According to Time magazine, prisons that are overcrowded are more likely to have riots and inmate-on-inmate crime. Needless to say, they're not being rehabilitated when they're there and are coming out more hard than when they first came in. So would you really want your family living in that conditions like that? Now think of a world or a prison where each inmate can have adequate space and adequate rehabilitative strategies to use. Think about prisoners being released from prison, able to function in society without having to recidivate when released. So if we made this change, inmates would be able to learn better social skills and would be able to go out and get a job and perhaps learn a trade and then go out and use it in the near future. So I know that with this change would come great improvement. To wrap things up, we have discussed just some of the problems that prisoners face with overcrowded prisons in the United States and how they are not really being helped out they're not being helped by the way that they're being locked up. So the next time you drive past the women's prison on Capitol Circle, think about those women who are mothers, daughters, sisters, and grandmothers, and think about how they're living, and think about all the other prisoners in the United States and how they're not getting the adequate help that they need. I know that after having a brother who has been in and out of jail multiple times, I know that something needs to be done about this issue. My brother has made some bad decisions over the course of his life, but my brother is still my brother, and I still care for him. So remember that these men and women who have been convicted of crimes still have family members that care for them and would like to see them rehabilitated and released back into society.